Hello, everybody. The name is Patrick M. Your number one automations. We gotta do it again. Yeah.
Just
Hello, everybody. The name is Patrick M. Your number one AI transformation guy in Berlin, Germany. And today, I'm not alone as usual. I'm with my main partner right here, and let him introduce himself.
yeah, I'm Henrik. I'm building automation for companies, and that's it.
Yeah.
In short.
It's short, right? So, today is the day we want to talk about something that I think it's about time we talk about this, right? We've been avoiding it for a little bit because of the controversy around it and how it's not really controversial, but there's a lot of sensitivity around it. So that's AI tools versus engineers, right? A lot of traditional legacy engineers, they're used to sitting in their own space, playing games, TV games and stuff like this, and waiting for a ticket and so on. But now everybody has access to AI tools, and they can build, shift, fast, break stuff, and complicate and make a mess, and then come back and say they're automating and they're engineers. So how do we then reconcile the two?
Reconcile the two,
Yeah.
first of all, define reconcile, please, Tommy.
Yeah. Well, to make sure that engineering doesn't hate, the vibe coders, and vibe coders don't break, the rules of the engineers and so on. Then so the two worlds have to come together to operate as one because,
I would say I see it firsthand at a glance because, for example, I have currently a project building a website from scratch, right?
Right.
And for example, the product designer or the designer itself, what he can do is actually provide a pretty much, let's say, 90% ready solution.
Right.
And what helps me is I don't have just the PNG file, just the image file. I already have like the code.
The code base,
the
yes.
code itself, which makes my life pretty much
Easy for sure.
And but still, I need to implement the website on production. Yeah. So in this sense, the designer can already provide not just design, but also let's say 90% ready.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, the way I see it, right? It's a mindset thing. The way I see it, it's a mindset thing. Most engineers, from what I've seen, legacy engineers or some of those guys that used to doing and operating in silos, have to come to the party. You have to have the great mindset to know that these tools are not going anywhere. People are learning them very fast, and everybody's going to break things. A lot of things are going to go wrong before they go right. So the best thing is to have the right mindset so you can deal with the mess. It's the same thing as change management, actually. Because we have to take the engineers into account. Previously, I didn't think about engineers as part of the change management process, but it seems that they also have to be included in that whole change management scenario, because if you want the whole business or the company to adapt AI tools, integrate AI tools into your processes and systems, it means engineering has to also, be a part of that process. I thought that engineering would be the guys that would have that figured out already. But as it turns out, they're also just scraping and trying to figure things out like the rest of us.
Yeah, talk more about the event. You have been to a developer event, so you can actually tell me what you have seen there.
So my take from this developer Berlin DevOps meetup is that engineering has to provide guardrails. They don't own the code base anymore, much like you said. They don't. It's somebody else in marketing or another team or design can have some sort of 80% ready product with code as well. So engineering doesn't own code anymore. So if I have a problem, with most of these tools, I can either prompt the tool that I need this changed and so on and so on. So engineering doesn't even have to get involved early on. So they are now scrambling to understand where do they fall into the picture. Another thing is, who's going to take responsibility if things, break, fall apart, Is it the developer or the designer who coded, or the marketing person who did build an app on a vibe coded app or whatever? And then what does engineering do in this case? Who owns that? Where does product management come into, play as well? So the entire ecosystem is kind of now in a zone where you started the thing, like you said, somebody started the work and they provided you with 80% of it. Now you have to bring it to a close. If something fails, who's responsible?
Yeah, I mean, that's the stupid thing. I mean, I got provided with a solution that was like 90% ready, right? And I still have to make it usable for people that don't know code.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is the main issue, I would say. Then when people don't know to code, I mean, they know vibe code, but they don't know how to read it, then this whole vibe coding is a complete mess in a way.
I mean,
yeah, so
yeah.
I would say it's still be a case that developers and the other people that don't know code have to work together. I mean, the whole way of how this happens is just faster, I would say, than before. And maybe also the communication can be clearer, because with AI you can already you can set up project management and so on pretty easy. So you don't need a project manager that is in the middle ground, kind of, I would say.
Yes.
Instead, you can.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to be done.
Yeah,
There's a lot. So, I mean, there's the statement that, much like you said, that AI tools and vibe coding could, get the concept, test there, get whatever it is that you want to get started. You start it, and engineering can get involved into, provide the guardrails to make sure that, certain things don't fall apart and so on, without being the bottleneck. Because at some point, if engineering doesn't play along, we're going to find them being the bottleneck in this case, So,
it's still a communication game, in this case, and also. I mean, when we talked before the podcast was live, we talked about that the developers' lack of the strategic thinking.
There we go. Yes.
Just talking about tickets. I mean,
right.
Hopefully, this will change soon. So each developer actually knows why he built a feature. Right?
Yes, exactly.
And not for the case that. He thinks that the feature is nice, makes the product better.
Right.
There's a strategic approach here.
And that's a major problem. That's a major problem. For me, for me, it's a red flag, man. If you're a developer or, an engineer that doesn't understand, why are you building what you're building, and, what is it for? For me, it's like, why are you even doing it? Like, which part of the equation are you if you don't know the end goal of this whole thing? I thought it would be a common thing that, a developer or somebody that gets involved in a project is interested and keen to find out what this is for, what it's going to do, and how much of an impact it'll have on the business. So the mindset again, we go back to the attitude, the mindset again, to be strategic, to think like business. But I think that's where they're going to start, struggle a lot.
Yeah. This is probably nothing you learn in the informatic study.
No.
Strategy, business, maybe a little bit of project management. I don't know. I just studied business administration.
Right.
So I'm coming more from the business side. So
right.
But I also learned the informatics side, which is nice in
it's a great combination. Yeah.
But that's probably because you don't learn this in a study. Yeah, the strategic thinking. That's my hypothesis now, because I didn't study informatics actually. Maybe you know someone who told.
Well, I mean, look, at the moment, with the current digital market or landscape or information systems market, everybody has access to information, you know. To still equate things to what you studied before, it's still a little bit of a displacing responsibility and not taking accountability in or interest in the work that you do. I come from, business, brand development, strategy, and so on. And I took on this whole AI engineering purely out of curiosity, because I want to understand the back end of what happens. What do the engineers do so that the product that I'm marketing, or if I'm a product manager, I know exactly from inception end to end what happens. I just find that a lot of engineers, or at least in this space, they've always had this prehistoric comfort of just operating in the zone of their own and taking a ticket when it comes in and not necessarily taking any interest in the business. So the way we do business is changing. The way that products are evolving is also requires a total different perspective towards that. You have to at least want to know. There are so many applications and so much stuff that's going on. It makes no sense to just know the little bit that you are supposed to do. That for me is a matter of curiosity, interest. Not just because you studied something, it means that you are limited to that. There's something I want to tell you about. It's called neuroplasticity, right? So the whole concept of neuroplasticity is having the ability to consume, absorb, and learn things that are totally outside of your comfort zone and stretch yourself as far as you can to see how much information you can take up. And I think if you studied something like engineering, I mean, I met a couple of these guys at that thing. They have to have the interest in it. Unfortunately, like it's the same. They have no choice.
Let me actually do a statement here. I mean, to the developers out there, no one is actually caring about your code. I mean, no one cares. Giving a fuck.
No one cares.
I mean, the users don't care. The business owners don't care. No one cares. Just the developers.
Just the developers.
And they pushing them or. They try to get to the top of the developer food chain, let's say, by showing the code to other developers to get like the blessing or
validation, man. The weight is validation. The status. Hey, the drink is over, guys. The genie is out of the bottle. It's over for you guys. I understand it, man. Like, I'm sure developers used to go to girls and be like, I was I was debugging the code last night on. So I didn't catch much sleep, you know what I mean? and then here we come with AI engineers like, yo, I had Cloud Code handle that for me last night. So that's funny. That's really funny, because that's actually how it is. Because I've seen, bro, when I started like figuring out this whole AI engineering stuff.
You went to dates and then you say, oh man.
I was like, hey, I was doing coding, bro. No, seriously, man. I had a conversation. I was out, having some coffee with some females. They're like, yo, what were you doing? I'm like, I'm getting into coding. They're like, oh, you coding? I'm like, yeah. But now it's like, that doesn't work anymore. It's like, why would you do that to yourself, Oh my God.
So you have been the guy who is actually getting validation through
I tried. No,
skill of coding.
Nah, man.
You're like a wizard. You can now move your how do you say
the wand.
Yeah. Now you can build.
I can wave my wand and say, hey.
This was actually always before I got into developing, I would say this was always the thing how I thought about it. Yeah, each developer has like this magic to build out of, let's say, words.
Right.
A product, and I couldn't get it actually in this. I couldn't get how they did that.
Right.
But after, I mean, years now to get into this topic, I mean, it's pretty interesting actually not how basic it is, but there is a logic behind that.
There's logic behind it.
The magic is gone. Right?
Yes. I think. I mean. Look. I mean. We laugh about it. We make fun of it.
For us at least. I mean.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
90% of the people that maybe listen to that.
Right. A lot of other people are sitting there thinking like, I still don't get it. I still
functions.
Right. They still don't get it, right? You could say all these things. So to some degree, I'm also on this other end of the spectrum, and I get it, and that's why I would find it funny and stuff like that. But other people still consider it to a degree very smart and so on. But like, again, if you don't allow yourself to have the neuroplasticity to learn new things and figure out what is important at the time when it is important, then you're going to remain stagnant and stuck in the same space. And I'm afraid a lot of developers, engineers, and other people are going to be, the industry is going to spit them out because they're not willing to move outside of their comfort zone. They're not willing to engage, interact, and talk to other people. I think there will be, a new breed of developers and engineers that understand the business, or at least even care about the business. I mean, Elon Musk and all these guys, even in this, tech industry and so on, they still businessmen. It's not like they don't know strategy or anything like that, So I think if the leaders of the new school have some business acumen, hey man, being a developer is like using one spade and hoping that you're still relevant in this kind of economy. But there's so many tools, so many people who have access, and the barrier of entry is so low now. You know what I mean? So, but now, what do you think, man? How do you think a developer or somebody that is from the old school can be a part of the game? What would you say?
So from the developer perspective,
yes.
Can they? I mean, I would say it's more my take here would be more generic, because this typical sentence, grow out of your comfort zone, right? I mean, the developers have right now a comfort zone.
Yeah,
they know that the code, they know the programming languages, JavaScript, Python, and so on.
Yeah.
But it's just like a tool, like everything else, and now you have to use the tools to actually provide value outside.
Right.
So when you're building products, just not building products because you like the coding language or whatever.
Right.
I mean, when we learned code, right, we coded everything in Python to get to know the language and stuff like that. But in the end, it's just a tool to help you with a specific problem. For example, web scraping, that you go to a website, collect information into a database, and then this information is for, let's say, strategic approaches, generating more leads or getting market information. So all the stuff you're building has a purpose in the end. It's not,
in the end.
Why do you build databases? No one cares what kind of database you build, but why do you build it?
Why do you build it?
To collect data of customers, to, I don't know, build, I don't know. In the end, it's just solving a purpose in the end.
I think you got it right there. Like, the biggest thing is you got to start I know this is like, it might sound like a cliche, but you have to start with why. At the moment, you gotta start with your why. What's your why? If you know why, then you will understand what you're doing, for what reason you're doing it, and then it becomes more fun. But if you're building for the sake of building and you don't know why, then you're operating like somebody that is just in a boat that's going north, and you're not even aware the direction of the boat. You're just sitting at the bottom of the belly, and somebody comes and says, paddle, and then you're just paddling, you're just paddling without any real direction. So I think you gotta really remove the veil off your face, man. Remove the veil, see what the world is about, figure out why all these apps are suddenly just everywhere. Everybody has access to tools and so on, and this is why. And also, I mean, this entire industry with AI is actually shifting to a place where you don't have to even need code. You would want to use natural language to build apps. That's mainly human movements, or the human intelligence is to make things, to simplify things. And I think a lot of engineers thrived on the idea of code being difficult for most people. And they wouldn't even...
They like the gatekeeper.
Yeah, exactly.
They like that they know stuff no one else knows, right? Yeah. I was thinking about it a minute ago, that when we learned code, or that we when we talked to the teacher, he said that some people just doing everything in a terminal, right? Right. In this black... no UI interface where you just type stuff in, and you can actually run your whole computer in a terminal. And some people are doing that, but why do they do that? It's, I mean, just for the sake, because
it looks cool, and
they feel cool.
Yeah, they feel
have
cool.
The power, the magic to actually run everything in a little terminal with what no one else can.
Yeah, it's like, and then you walk into this guy's office or whatever, and it's just there. And you don't even realize, and there's just code everywhere. I think it's the movies also that actually kind of messed up with everybody's perception of coding and so on. Because in the movies, it was like there was always this descriptive thing. That's the code, and this guy understands. And they call some other guy who's just like eating chips at home, just like like, oh, he's a wizard with the code. And, you know what I mean? And then nobody else knows what it says. But now, well, no, it's still the case. I mean, it's still the case. I can read some code. I can understand some code. I can understand HTML, SQL, and all these other things, and Python and so on. I have some level of understanding and so on. So I do get the mystery of it when you know it and somebody else doesn't know it. But it doesn't serve anybody to operate like that anymore, We share information, we let everybody run with it. But the thing is, even if everybody has the same information, not everybody's going to use it. And that's where the jig then becomes more important. What you know is not equal what you do. You can know as much as I know. If you don't apply, then that knowledge just remains useless, So no matter what you share, no matter what you do, half the time, and I had somebody say this before, man, it's like, you can give somebody information and give them coordinates to some place. Half the time, out of 10 people, maybe 3 people will have the curiosity to be like, where do these coordinates lead? And then go. Maybe one individual will be like, you know what? I want to get to the destination and see what's there. Even though 10 people were given the same coordinates. So it's the same thing. All these tools are available. Everybody has access to AI tools and so on. But not everybody's going to use them to their fullest potential. Not everybody even has the interest to do that, I think a lot of the people will still remain in their own comfort zone as well. And they will leave it up to a few individuals who are willing to try things out, break things, and actually even, move their things forward, which creates another group of entrepreneurs and developers and brave hearts, leaders, and so on and so on. And then the rest of the people will be like, yes, we will follow you. At least you guys know that stuff. But I think And I'm not talking to the traditional engineer here. If you are one of those, then I don't want to be your friend, man. We cannot do business. We can't work together. Don't talk to me. I won't talk to you. But if you're an engineer, a developer, and somebody that has, an open mind and is forth looking and is looking to build businesses and systems and, revolutionize the industry, AI is already doing that. So I'm talking to you. You're the kind of person I would like to connect to. Right.
Yeah, what else? I mean...
Okay, so let's close it off, Hendrik. What would be your last, your last take of AI and engineers? Do you think they're gonna be phased out? You think AI is coming for the engineers' jobs? I mean, I think they're the most scared ones, because there was something like, because now AI can do coding, the engineers are cooked.
My opinion in this direction always switches from week to week, I would say.
Yeah.
Because. For example, let's take the example of the marketing department, right? They also think, hey, AI will automate my work and make me redundant, and I have no job in the end anymore.
Yes.
But somehow people never trust, or probably the people or humans will not trust AI to 100% in the end.
And they shouldn't.
Yeah. Because in the end, AI is just like I would say like a calculation how possible something is, right?
Right.
And sometimes it needs the human creativity or
yes. 100%.
The way of thinking out of the box, and otherwise the life would be also boring, right? If everything is automated, always the same.
It'll be without taste, yeah, for sure.
I would say right now my opinion is AI will take some boring jobs for sure. Some, I already said monkey work, I think the last time.
Yeah.
Monkey work, which is copy-paste and which is good because no one in the end wants to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And, but everything else, I mean... It's up to you. I mean, if you're not interested in automating your work you love, for example, if you're still a painter, you never would use AI only for painting.
Right.
There are still people that like the human way to do it.
Right.
Painting.
The human touch, yeah.
Also in developing, I mean, building applications with code, there will be still people that use the terminal to do stuff.
Yes.
They will be not, let's say, they don't have the advantage to people that use AI in this case. But they still have a, let's say, they are still ahead in this sense that they have a deeper knowledge in a specific area. For example, if you talk to a developer of how to build an application, I would say the developer I mean, he uses AI. He is also quicker with AI, but he can actually identify the patterns that can bring down the house, for example.
Right. Yeah, that's their strategic advantage.
Identify this. I mean, this is basically why vibe coding is not, for example, production ready right now, because still people think AI can bring the house down when you don't know the missing pieces in the code, or the open doors for people to hack into your application, for example. But if you know the doors and so on, you have the knowledge, I mean, you still have the advantage.
100%. 100%.
And also, I mean, for marketers, if you the magic is not in the channels or your posts, I would say, in general, right?
Right.
Or the text you write or the image you create. It's the overall strategic approach.
Right.
Why do you use a channel and which messaging are you using on the channel?
Right.
And then you can use automation to scale it up.
To scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, man, and I agree with you.
So yeah, I mean, in the end, my last word is you have the advantage when you know how to use AI and the deep knowledge of your industry you are in.
Yes.
Yeah, or the department you are in. If you have this two, you are way ahead of everyone else, I would say.
100%. I got you. So that makes a lot of sense. Again, just to reiterate what you said, I know we've been hammering at the engineers today, the developers, and so on. But again, you are still very useful to the industry. You will not be discarded until you're no longer needed. All right, but you have to be a steward. I think much like you said, I agree with that. I echo that sentiment. Yeah.
Let me add something there.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say the future route will be that there will be less and less developers in one company, but there will be more and more companies in the end. Because the developers that don't get a job later on, what will they do? They don't know anything else than code, so they're building products. So the market will be filled with more and more products, with more and more tools. Right.
Yeah, but that also increases failure rate, because then again, back to the strategic version, the strategic way of thinking. If you're a developer and everybody can do your work, now you want to build a product. Well, you're still going to need to market it. You're still going to need to be strategic. You still going to be, you know what I mean? Because product on its own, so it's still very. Again, we were talking about this earlier today, man. There are no two ways around this issue of, learning the tools and understanding, and if you're an engineer or a developer, there are no two ways around you picking up a book on strategy and product development and product management and all that. There's no two ways around it. Same thing as a marketing person who is not willing to, learn any tools and so on, or learning to develop, build, or whatever. There are no two ways around it. At least learn. Like the very basis of it is learn. And the learning is not from nothing. It's not like you're starting from scratch. You have 10 years experience as an engineer, for example. You just need a couple more years to dedicate yourself to learning strategy, understanding all these tools, and interacting with other people, maybe even social interaction skills, dealing with clients, explaining all these things. But it's an interesting intersection, is what I consider the convergence culture between tech, strategy, and everything else in between, and communication. So if you can't do that, well, get ready, my friend, to go live on a mountain.
Yeah. I mean, I also saw a post recently where product manager was actually testing Cloud Code out and building products and so on. And he said where the line is between product manager and developer, right? And I was commenting, there is no line, just learn code.
Right.
And he was like, bro, what? I should learn code? But yeah, in the end, why shouldn't you learn the field?
Right.
This is always what I don't get. Yeah, you're an expert, for example, in marketing or development, but why don't you want to understand the other side, right? Because then the communication between the different sides becomes clearer when you speak the language of the other field.
Right.
And this is basically what I don't get. I mean, the people learn one thing, product management, for example, and they don't go beyond the...
Well,
beyond the island. I mean, they should conquer new islands more.
You know?
Another statement for the podcast. Conquer more islands.
Hey, listen. Listen, exactly. You see, it just comes naturally, bro. That's exactly. I was like, what? You gotta conquer things. You know, it's that exact mentality, bro.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, Hendrik, I'm so glad that we're talking about this, because that's exactly why, you know, I made the move that I made, you know what I mean? Because I could tell that a lot of people in marketing or product development or product marketing or app marketing even, or consulting, you know, in these spaces have no real depth of understanding of what's the other side of, you know, back end, what happens and so on. Even paid media specialists, man, you're like, you know, you're doing this and you're doing paid ads and so on, and that's your own world. And I'm like, but you know, you could consider understanding the entire ecosystem, you know, CRM, you know, sales outreach, and, you know, engineering, and now paid media, ads and consulting, and also see, you know, the entire system, just so that when you talk about it, just you don't talk about the one bit and then wait for another person to talk about it. I think, however, because I have to speak for myself as well here, it might seem intimidating for a lot of people to want to go into these things, learning code and understanding it and so on. But soon as you have that curiosity and the interest to do it, you go into it. I can tell you it's not easy. I don't want to tell people that shit is easy. It's not easy. But you're not going to be any dumb for learning it. You know, you're not gonna get dumber for learning it. You may and a mistake I made was to think that, and I think most people make this mistake, is to think that you have to be perfect at the beginning. You don't have to be, you know, because I don't remember starting and learning something the first time and I was really good at it and I was perfect, you know. I mean, some things come naturally to me, some things I gotta be honest, you know, but you always have to you don't have to be perfect in the beginning. You don't have to be. You just really have to get over the anxiety, develop some confidence, learn as you go, gather some experience, and within, you know, another 6 months down the line, you'll be like, hey, I could do this. So for me right now, it's like I'm not intimidated by code or, you know, seeing HTML, you know, or whatever, or talking to an engineer and wondering what they're talking about. I'm way past that now. You know, I'm at a stage where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to build myself now. You know, that's the anxious part where I can have a product where somebody can look at it and say, hey, you did good here, you can change here, you can do better here, you know, so somebody can judge my work, because I look at people's work as a consultant and say, hey, yeah, we need to change that, and I don't do it myself, you know. So, you know, we all kind of are operating in a space where we need to challenge ourselves, man, you know. So the people that don't do it, it's all out of fear, I gotta tell you. It's the fear of the unknown. And, you know, a year later, when everybody's aware that this thing can be done and it was done by other people, then they'll start adopting and advancing to conquer new islands, as you put it, you know. All right. So, Hendrik, before we shut this down, man, any last words, man?
I already had my last words.
You already had your last words, all right.
And it expanded to more conversation. Conquer new islands.
Yeah, exactly.
Grow out of your comfort zone, conquer new islands.
Yeah.
What else? Don't be afraid about the future. I mean, no one can look into the in the future.
To everybody that's out there, listen. AI is here to stay. You just got to learn it. Get yourself comfortable around it. Be uncomfortable learning it. You don't have to be perfect in the beginning. And if you're a business owner, you need to understand that we are here to help your business build systems, not to build code. Build systems so we can solve your strategic problems and get some return on investment. This is the Tech Biz. Until next time.